Choose new highs. So basically, you just wasted an hour and a half of your life. Congratulations. Congratulations. You just wasted an hour and a half of your life. You get it now? So anyway, hey, what's up, Internet? You peasants and serfs. Yeah, I'm here. By the way, this might be the last show I do at 11 o'clock because you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of giving out free shit. Right? I do enough free stuff for 2 weeks. So you guys and you peasants and serfs out there, why don't you go call your aunt? Ask her about me, first of all. Secondly, ask her to borrow some money. You say you met some guy on the internet. Yes, that way, in a gay way. You met some guy on the internet that's going to change your life, and it's not a scam. I've read about him. He's changing people's lives. The guy knows more about the stock market than any human being there is on earth. And all he wants is $3,000 to spend every waking minute with him to help me learn about how to trade. Intraday, swing trading, investment, options, stocks, bonds, futures, volume weighted average price. He gives out free books, hats, t-shirts. He's charismatic. He's handsome, debonair, funny as shit. All that for $3,000. You serfs down there hanging out in my kingdom. I've been feeding you bread from my window for 2 years now? I got this guy, Jerry. He's on now. Jerry, by the way, Jerry has now broken the world record for the amount of trials that anybody's taken. Jerry now is on his 58th trial. Let's give it up for Jerry. It's guys like Jerry that ruin it for everybody, not just stock traders, but society in general. Guys like Jerry who are out there thinking, maybe I could, I'll just ask for another free thing. Maybe this guy's stupid enough to not realize I've exploited him for the last 3.5 years. Like, scrape your fucking pennies together, Jerry. You're obviously infatuated with me. Obviously, I make you money. Why don't you scurry back and go test another service, right? How'd that work out for you? Right? You try somebody else's service, you pay for somebody else. What? Oh, they went out of business? Oh, and I'm still doing this, right? There's a reason for that, Jerry. So all you sycophants out there, you peasants and serfs, it's time to step up. Join the winning team. You want to make money or you want to fuck around? $3,000's a lot? That's a day's pay. You know, we started doing these shows on the internet to kind of give people FOMO so they join. Nah, but they don't. Because I give out such vital information on this hour broadcast that you guys think that you shouldn't be able to pay for this. Nah, no more. Now I'm going to spend an hour rubbing it in your face of all the trades that you missed. Aha, you missed it. You stink. Join the website right now. And then not just join my website. How about do this? Do this. Join the website. Pay me, and then I'm going to set you up with somebody else immediately. Because he's the shining beacon of hope. The man, the myth, the legend. His name is Solid. And he frolics amongst us. He walks amongst us. The God that walks amongst us. And for a reasonable fee, he'll sit with you and teach you everything that you don't learn on a daily basis from me. And then within days, if not weeks, maybe months, you'll be set. You'll be set for life. This isn't a perishable skill. Once you learn it, you get better and better at it. But you got to learn what you're looking at every day. I'm not going to keep throwing bread out the window to you peasants. It's time to collect taxes now from the kingdom. By the way, did anybody just waste 2.5 hours of your life shorting the Qs? You see why it's a waste of time? Do you finally get it? Guy in the back, you get it now? Market never goes down. Jimmy, you get it now? Jimmy, you moron. Why don't you go on one of my YouTube videos and talk about how I'm wrong about the market never going down? Go ahead. Because it went down for like a week there, right? Yeah, sure it did. You know, by the way, depending on your time frame or whether you're even watching the market, let's assume that you weren't even watching the market over the last couple of days, and then it's back to all-time highs. Did it even go down? According to you, it never even went down because you didn't even see it. That's the new bear market. It happened so quickly that you didn't even notice it. And if you're looking at the chart that I think you're looking at right now, unless you're Jerry, you see the faux show bro, right? It works on every time frame. Here's the faux show bro from March, which began the newest bull market that we're in right now. And then another fake out, shakeout right here that probably created a new bull market. So the new bull market started on July 11th, Jerry. And bull markets tend to last for what? 3 to 5 years, sometimes 7 years. So you got 7 more years now. You want to get in the way of a 7-year breakout that's about to happen? Good luck. You go hang out with Jimmy and Gail. You need somebody like me to keep you focused. I remember when the markets used to go down every once in a while. Doesn't happen anymore. So I'm here to remind you every morning, you want to short stocks and play fades, you better do it according to the rule book. And what is the rule book? Volume weighted average price. Because the Rambus short today was epic. The Nokia short, pretty damn sweet. Even the SpaceX short that we did, not bad. We picked our spots, we won, and now we go back to the regular scheduled programming of the market never going down. The most important takeaway from today, my peasants and serfs that are listening to me on YouTube, all 4 of you that are left, because I've been banned by YouTube so many times that my algorithm has been tainted. That low print right there on 6/9/26. That low print, what you may have thought insignificant at the time, that low print June 9th, 2026. What seemed like an innocent sell-off might be the most significant moment of your life. Because what we witnessed on June 9th are new Generational Lows. Thank you. That's my time, everybody. Go watch a few movies. Sure, Kenny. If somebody wanted to go long in the QQQ today in options, there really wasn't any plays today on the Qs. No, because gap. The only thing you do on a gap up Monday is you look for a little fade, and that was it. And now we're just going to grind higher, probably all day, but it's going to just slowly go up. There's no option plays today. If there was an option play, it had to be buying a 740 on this little mini tiny pullback. That's about it. The trades today were fading stocks that I own. As ironic as that was, it was fantastic trades. So, again, Rambus, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Nokia, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Lightpath, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. And those are the trades. Tomorrow, if the market gaps up and actually tries to sell off, today's lows will be more important than the generational lows. But like I said, now that we sold off last Tuesday, these are probably generational lows, meaning you're never going to see them ever again, right? Just faux show broad. Chances are we're breaking all-time highs. They're going to tack on 30 or 50, maybe 170 points from here on the Qs. Not exaggerating it either. I think easy 1,043 on April 28th, 2028. That was my target from like 3 years ago. We're right on schedule. I thought it was a little far-fetched at the time, but now I'm thinking I might underestimate what the Q is going to be a year from now. It's only a year from now. I think we tack on at least 300 points. But again, that's irrelevant. If you're day trading, the trades today were very specific. It was just looking to play the fade, and I looked to play the fade first on stocks that I own. And ironically, it was one of the best trades of the day. If not the best trade of the day, it was Rambus short, Nokia short. Scalped the Q short for a second. It worked. But, again, shorting a stock at 741 to get paid 2 points, that's not a good trade. I'm glad it worked, but it's just more or less a waste of time. Now, listen, it could be another short opportunity on the Qs. Yeah, shorting. Here's another word of advice. Don't ever trade options. And Rambus, don't ever trade SQQ options. They're illiquid. They're awful. They're terrible. The SQQ, never trade them except to sell them, which I do like because they're overpriced and they stink. Terrible. All right, so listen, we got an hour to spend with each other before I start nerding out and get onto my baseball card trading app. Spend 3 hours talking about deals and working $6 deals with these people after working with these stocks. It's fun in a way. If you guys like baseball cards, I'm so deep into it now, I'm going crazy to how many different things are in the baseball card world nowadays. Anyway, but yeah, Rambus options, terrible. They're monthlies, they're illiquid, they're awful. It's in a void for all of eternity. Terrible. Ridiculously awful. The Qs intraday today, the reason I'm not really focused on them, except for that one opportunity, was that I know exactly what we were going to get today because I'm a victim to this market, right? I'm a bearish guy. And for 3 years, I learned the hard way this market never goes down anymore. And I fought it for 3 years and I lost. But it was just one battle. I didn't lose the war. I lost the battle. I had to regroup, get some new troops, and now I'm in a new battle. I'm on the resurrection tour, right? Blew my life up for 3 years. So now everything I do now is I victimize my former self. And I understand that when the market gaps up after one tiny brief moment of volatility and then it gaps, it traps the shorts. So anybody that was shorting last Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they're annihilated now, right? So now they're trapped on this power gap morning. And that's what this is. We gapped above resistance. We're power gapping. We power gapped again. This is 5 power gaps in less than 400 days. I've never seen it before. They're not allowing you to short, and they're not allowing the market to go down. Power gap, that monster one we saw last April on tariff day, where they flipped the switch. We had a 10% move in the market. Still incredible. If you were there to witness that, it was something. And then obviously the market tried to sell off on, I forgot what the reason was. It doesn't even matter at this point. And then they power gapped on March 31st. All right, we were selling off because of the war, right? Right, sure, right. Right. Yeah, that's why we were selling off, because of the war and the price of oil, right? So then we power gapped on the 31st, power gapped again on April 2nd, and this power gap today, because the market was going to have some issues here, but we gapped above the issues. Power gap. So now that we power gapped, it traps all these people. Everybody that was staying short. Oh, that was the high of the year. Oh, yeah, sure, right. High of the year. High of the, right. Blow off top. Right. Okay, whatever. Whatever the short's premise is, they're always going to be wrong in this market. One day they'll be right, sometime in 2035, I think. Irrelevant, that part of the conversation. What's relevant is we power gapped on a Monday, and generally we don't sell off. We get a little fading. We took advantage of that moment, and the moment's gone, right? But generally what we do is we gap and we sit and we grind higher, because the reason the market can't go down after a power gap is that these morons down here who actually stayed short the Qs, now they're trapped. So now they want out. So any little pullback, they're covering shorts just to lighten up on their disaster. And the longs that were debating whether to buy here and here, now they're gripped with FOMO. Oh, I could have bought here. I should have bought there. I could have bought here. I should have bought there. Oh, I'm buying now. A lot of dumb shit's going on right now. And I don't buy into it. If it keeps on going, who cares? It's just one trade. I'm not missing anything, because I take high quality trades if I'm going to trade at all. That's why shorting the Qs today, you had one chance. And that was after we had a little topping and then a follow-through candle for the VWAP retrace. And that's all you're getting. And those are now probably new generational lows. Fat Finger Freddy. But long story short, let's go back to what really worked today, right? It was Rambus. And all you're doing is you're shorting the blue line at 155 and change, using 157.50 as your out, right? $150 stock, you're risking 250. Orange line was here. So you're like, all right, cool. Why not short the stock, look to play the fade, a couple of hundred shares, let's call it 155, 2.5 point risk, $500 risk. But so how do you calculate what your reward could be? Your reward, you're down there at the orange line. You're not thinking it's going to go to 147, but you got to factor it in. Risking 2.5 to possibly make 8. And look how nice this trade is in the face of this massive gap bull market, we've got a stock that actually went red. So if you're just joining us, hi, my name's Kenny. I own Rambus. And the ironic nature of this morning was I said, if you're going to short stocks, start with the 3 stocks that I own, because the market likes to piss me off, right? So now all that conspiracy about how the market revolves around me, I proved it this morning, like I prove every morning, that the market is rigged. And for some reason, it's rigged against me personally. So as the ironic nature of this market continues to be reality, why not short the stocks that Kenny Glick owns? But you only do it once it confirms a real reason. You got your idea? Oh, man, Kenny seems to think the market revolves around him. Oh, shit, it does. And look at this trade. And before that, we shorted Nokia because I own it, right? Now, remember, a lot of people lose me on this conversation. Wait a second. How could you short a stock that you own? Or how could you short a stock that you don't own? What the hell are you talking about? I thought you said the stock's going to 250. Why are you selling it? I'm not. So in my long-term account, known as the machine, that's my long-term account. In the machines account, Nokia still lives, LightPath still lives, and Rambus still lives. But because I know the ironic nature of this market, my stocks that I own will probably be the first ones to go down today. So I look to short those stocks. But still, that notion needs to be validated. Validated by what? Price action. There's Nokia, the inability to get back over the VWAP, breaking a whole number, short it, using that 13-cent risk. Rewards waiting for me down here at 14.75. That's $250. Why not? And then it kept telling me, hey, your stock stinks today. The one stock that seems to be going down is the one that I own. Ironic or not, here it is. I live in the world of reality. Is this really happening? It certainly is. But it all started with that and this, and then a multi-day VWAP break, and then 14.75 gets me 14.50. And that's the whole trade. But that's a $500 trade now. And that's day trading. Rambus, same thing. So this whole endeavor that we get involved in each morning, you could have whatever idea you want. Take a step back and let the idea first be validated by price action, and then put the trade on, identifying your risk, understanding where your reward is, and then remember, you're an active trader. You're going to be doing things throughout that trade when that trade tells you to be doing something, like the Qs, right? We were short. We were hoping that it would amount to something. We were delusional enough to get involved in the first place because the market gave us permission. But then it held VWAP. We were already saying, this trade's probably not going to be good. But we held on. And at 741 and 742, those were the stops. You got out at 741 and 742, the trade's over. One of these days, maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe 20 years from now, we'll actually break VWAP, test from underneath, and actually roll over like we did on Tuesday. So that's why Tuesday was the most special day of the year. And what do they say? Something about keeping it holy? What you saw on Tuesday, don't ever forget what we saw and how it worked. Because one day we'll see it again. Maybe not anytime soon. But that's why when you see a blow-off top candle and a rollover and a VWAP break, you take the trade, because that's how sell-offs start. So if you read the email today, if you heard my ranting this morning, you're not going to be doing too much today because it's a Monday power gap. We get a little chance at the beginning of the day to do something, and then we just grind. And we're in the grinding stage right now. We're probably going to grind all the way to 745 on the Qs, possibly all-time highs. Gap again tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So if you guys want to see something else that I did, it was a SpaceX short. So right here, I saw a blow-off top engulfing bearish candle. And I was like, ooh, that's something. Let me short on the roll. Got paid. Understanding shorting is short-lived and I'm going to die. Take the profit. Get stopped out of VWAP. Done with that trade. By the way, you could thank me for the New York Knicks winning, because I had this thing going. Every time they would stop playing poorly, I would do a couple of bong rips and then bet $85 against them, and they would stop playing better. And they would stop playing better, go back outside, take a bong rip, come back inside, bet another $85 against them, and next thing you know, they would win. And I did that every game. Don't tell me I didn't create. I created the entire. I was dictating the way sports was happening. Everything revolves around me. Prove me wrong. Anyway, but here we are, living the best life, right? What do I think about AGQ? I'm actually surprised it's still green, because I own that one too, and it's still hanging in there. Oh, ND. Yes. Baseball cards. Yeah, it's back. They're so back, except we still stink. The cards from 75 to 89, where most of our collection is, still tainted by the steroids. Yeah, we're never getting out of those McGuire rookie cards. And nobody cares about Paul Molitor anymore. I've got like 50 Paul Molitor rookie cards. I've got 10 of every 1983 top set, Topps, Donruss, Fleer. Nobody cares about Wade Boggs. Nobody cares about Tony Gwynn anymore. Nobody even cares about Ryan Sandberg. Nobody cares. It's all about insert cards and chase cards and a bunch of bullshit. But the industry's back in a big way. The old cards have come back. Very nice. Your Mantles, your 54 top stuff, that stuff. But that sweet spot that we grew up in, we're never getting our money out of that. We're never going to see McGuire rookie cards back to 250 or 500. All of those 87 Fleer sets that you own with the Will Clark and the Barry Bonds and the extended sets, garbage. So why was Rambus a short? Oh my God. Let's talk about it again. Do you really want me to go over that again? I will. There's like nothing else to talk about. You guys still with me? Dungeon, hit the bidders. You see how this day's just more or less come to an end, right? We're done, right? So now we could just sit here and just chill, right? You're not buying the cues. You're not shorting the cues. So what are they going to do? They're going to grind. You can't trade options on them. They're just going to grind around all day and close, right? At least we found something to do today. Yes, rookie Griffey will always be a classic card. 89. I'm thinking 89 up a deck. You must. That's the official rookie card. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about Rambus for a second, right? So this is just a fade. So the idea of trading a gapped up market is you look for the fade. If you ain't fading, you ain't trading, right? So the idea behind the fade is that somebody bought the stock and is thinking more short term. So they're going to take advantage of the gap. So when you walked in and you saw the market was gapped up huge, I think only one thing. What am I going to sell? And if I don't own it, what am I selling short? So in this case, I look at the stocks that I own first, because the ironic nature of this market, it likes to bother me. So I went and checked on Rambus, and I went and checked on Nokia. But let's talk about Nokia first, because I just recently bought more. By the way, a little faux show bro action. See? Oh, this is even a better story now. So again, let's go back to way back when Kenny was 25 years old and I had a portfolio of stocks. And then I became a trader. my first thing I would do is I would trade the stocks that I owned. But I already owned them. So I would kind of just sit here and wait if Cisco or Oracle or the Qs or whatever I owned at the time was getting weak. I would short them that day to make money while they were having that moment of weakness, because I noticed that anytime I sold the stock, it'd keep going up after I got out. I was sick of that. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to short them in another account in those moments of weakness and hold them long in my other account because I still believe in them. Fast forward 30 years later, we're still doing that. So I own Nokia. I bought more last week on, $13.50. I held it. I still think the stock's going to 24. Now, fast forward to reality. I bought more. I still think it's going to 24. But now I think, all right, the market's gapping up big. This thing's already made a nice move. Let me see if any short-minded, not short-minded like they're going to short, but short duration time traders, people who just bought at 13.50 and they're looking at the stock at 15, and they're going to take something off the table. They're going to sell some, right? So I wait to see if those sellers show up because it's a rational trade. And when do they show up? Here's the gap, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's an attempt to sell off. Here's Nokia. And then here's where I'm awake. I'm watching the stock. It's forming this range. I see a fat finger Freddy show up right there. I'm like, oh, that's telling me the stock really wants to go down. There's the fat finger. If you want to see, it's an anomaly print out of the market, right? There it is. So now I'm waiting for a reason because I'm not demented anymore. Well, then again, depending on what conversation you hear me talk, there's levels of dementia. But I'm not demented as a shorter anymore because I've learned my lesson because it doesn't really work. So if I'm going to short something, it has to prove to me that there's a chance, right? And how do I get proved that there's a chance to make money doing something that doesn't really work too much anymore? There, right there. Double top at the blue line, rejected, and roll. That's a reason to short something. Can't get over the VWAP, breaking the pre-market pivots where it held, short it. And then it starts to roll over and you make money. And then it goes to the orange line. And that's a pretty good trade already in itself. And then you're thinking, hey, well, I made it this far. I guess it's going to go test Fat Finger Freddy trade. Bang, it did. And then look what happened to Nokia. There was no reason to cover it. So 15 gets us 14.75. You take some profit. 14.75 gets you 14.50. Right? Pretty much done with this trade. And then you got yourself what? And this is why I love this trade, because now it's showing you fake them out, shake them out, range break, holds it. So now Nokia went from being a nice short, the covering, to a nice little scalp long. And now if it recovers, this is the anatomy of why I do what I do now. So I'll take advantage of the short-term weakness on a stock that I own by shorting it intraday. And then at the end of the day, I still own Nokia, I still own Rambus, and I still own Lightpath, and so forth and so on. So the Rambus was the same thing. Rambus, obviously the best trade of the day by far. Also, the algorithmic numbering was phenomenal. 155 gets you 157.50. I'm sorry, I missed by a penny, but close enough. Roll over. 9:30 candle below break right there. VWAP break, new low break, pre-market low break. Short it using these levels as your outs in case it rips against you. But it went to the orange line where you cover 60, 70% of it, not expecting it to. I did not expect it to break down, as a matter of fact. I expected it to hold, chop around. I thought this was going to be the rally back. And again, no short's going to last in this market, but can't take the money from you after you've covered. Now you're done. And by the way, it's a buy, right? So all these trades, right? SpaceX, I shorted that, turned into a buy. I was going to short Oracle. I didn't get the print. Obviously turned into a buy. Faux show bro, VWAP break. I was short the Qs momentarily. Obviously turned into a long. So unless you're delusional, you're seeing what I see every single day. Shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. And I know that. A lot of people don't realize it. And that's why I say it every day, at least 150 times. Can you make money? Sure. There it was. I shorted SpaceX, the Qs, Rambus, Nokia, lived to tell the tale. And now I'm not short any of those stocks. And now I can go back to being the bull market participant. As a matter of fact, Rambus might be a buy right now. Let's see. You see that? I just bought it. See how I sent the limit order and I got done? So now watch this. I'm going to put it on the offer right now. See if anybody buys it from me immediately. You see how quickly my order's out there? I don't got to think. I press the button. I'm in. That's not even a millisecond. I'm already on the offer. You see, I just throw it. Again, I only have 100 shares. I'm just showing you examples. Usually I'm doing this in my other account anyway. But you see how quickly I buy something and then I put the order out there. And then if I want to put a stop, I just hit the button, sell, stop, limit, bang. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but see, I'm fucking goofing around. I just sold the stock. Still wound up making 20 bucks on that trade because I got it at a good price. I didn't mean to do that. See, I hit the wrong button. I hit the limit. I'm supposed to hit stop. And now I'd be getting done. If you just bought some Rambus, good luck. I'm just sold it. So it'll probably start ripping now. Good luck. This guy moves out of the way. It'll probably rip to a half. And next thing you know, you got a winning trade. There you go. How's that for a winning trade, right? Now that I sold it, it'll probably rip 2.5 points immediately. And this is how trading happens, right? What's that? That's a fake out shakeout. What's this? This is a range break. What's that? That's a Kardashian bottom and an Andy Dufresne breaking out of it. Buy it. And next thing you know, you got a winning trade. It ain't hard, people. It ain't hard. It ain't hard. You just got to push button, identify risk, push button, put an offer out there. And if you had bought 300 shares just now at 45, you could go on the offer right now or just sell all 300, and that's a day's pay right there. Let's say you bought 1,000 shares at 145. You're up $750 right here on this little tiny move. This ain't hard, people. Once you get what you're doing down, and you're going to get it with me and Solid guiding you every day. That's why I never stop talking. There's never not an opportunity. That's why I have zero fear of missing out. Missing out on what? Some guy emailed me about the SpaceX trade. This is bullshit. I just missed the whole market. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, you missed what? What'd you miss? It's one trade. Who cares what SpaceX is doing? He's like, it's unfair. I couldn't get it at the IPO price. I said, what are you talking about? You could have bought it at 150. It went up 25 points. People would kill for that money. Well, I don't want to buy it now. I'm like, all right, so then you didn't really want to buy it. If not getting it at 135 prevented you from getting in at 150, you really didn't want to buy it in the first place. You're just complaining about something to complain about. You know what I'm complaining about, Guy, if this is you listening in? I was promised a fucking market crash, right? SpaceX was going to take the liquidity out of the market, and the whole market was going to have a mad exodus. This was going to be a blow-off top for the ages, eh? Yeah, where'd all those sellers go? That's what I'm wondering. Where'd all those sellers go that showed up for about 8 minutes? They're all dead. That's where they went. You'll be careful next time. You'll be dead. By the way, if you don't know where that line is from, your day is over.
In a world where the market only goes up, one man stands alone. In the face of war, inflation, stagflation, whatever inflation, your mom's inflation, wars, China slowdown, fiscal cliff, Greek debt, and the list goes on and on. And each time, we have now required and secured generational lows.
That's the scene when he's in there. Come on. When he's looking for Han Solo and the guy next to the guy, the alien dude with the face. He nudges him. He's going to kill him. I'll be more careful next time. You'll be dead. Fast ship. It's made the one that Kessel run. Nearly 4 parsecs. Fast enough for you, old man. So you peasants, what are you doing out there down in the dungeon, right? Today's your last day, by the way. No, I don't look at the SPX zero-date options because of one guy. One guy. He used to be a member of our room. And for 3 months, he was paper trading them. And then he told me that he hasn't lost on one of these trades. I was like, you're paper trading, right? He's like, no, but I'm doing really well. I'm like, yeah, but you're paper trading. You understand? It doesn't equate into real life. And then the dude, he wanted me to fund him because I was funding traders that could prove to me that they knew somewhat of what they were doing. And I was like, let me know when you go live and you do exactly what you're doing today and how it works out. And I got to tell you, this guy turned out to be one of the most honest people I've ever met in my life. 6 months later, I get an email. You were right. I finally opened up my account, and I haven't had a winning day in 3 weeks. And I responded, no shit. Because paper trading is bullshit. You get executions that you wouldn't normally get. There's no fear involved. You're not worried about losing money. You let things ride when you wouldn't normally do. You do dumb shit when you're paper trading. That's why don't let it go to your head. It's just to learn the system that you're trading on. It's learning to send the orders. Real trading happens. I'd rather see you trading 3-share lots just to get a feel for what it feels like to be in a real trade and real executions than paper trading and letting yourself become delusional. Because once that guy went live instead of using real money, like I said, he lost every day. All those trades that he thought he knew what he was doing didn't work suddenly. And he said to me, everything you said that was going to happen happened. I'm like, I told you. And he wanted to be my latex salesman. Vandalay Industries. So this is a tough day. This is a tough racket right here. This is a tough kind of day because, you want to put trades on. If you're on your 3rd day, you email me, compliment me again how handsome I am, and I'll give you the other 12 days. Yeah. Everybody gets 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And if you don't know where that's from, don't even bother sending an email. 2 weeks. I'll give you a hint. The head blows up. I'll give you a hint. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll give you another hint. Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right. But anyway, let's talk about this Clove trade for a second, right? So somebody on Friday said, well, that trade didn't work. And no shit. I didn't even put it on because it never set up, right? The trade was interesting enough on Friday. You got something out of the stock, but if you bought the $5 calls, yes, you lost the 2 cents. Total recall. Exactly. Right? You lost your 2 cents. Sorry. But normally, lotto plays, they call them lotto plays for a reason. They don't work. Anybody here hit the lottery? Right. We do hit from time to time in here. When they hit, they're 20 baggers and 50 baggers. But then fast forward to remember what I said to you, don't not watch Clove on Monday. Because when a trade doesn't work on Friday, it tends to have follow through the next day because they're just pinning it. And remember, the Clove trade, they took the money. Remember, we were supposed to be buying it the prior day, and then it gapped up. And if you're mentioning the $2 paperboy guy, I love you. Do you know how much the street value of this mountain is alone? $2. French fries, French dressing. Oh, look at you. You're in my head, bro. Sick. All right. Anyway, nobody's short the cues, right? You sick bastards, right? Look, if you're going to do anything with the cues today, it's just hold into the close. Because usually when you power gap on a Monday, you just grind the shit out of everybody. And all we do is grind and grind and grind. And then we close and then we go higher in the aftermarket all the way to 8 p.m., all the way to tomorrow's gap. And we'll be at 7:50 tomorrow morning. There is zero reason to sell. There's not much to do. That's why we're just chilling out. But let's talk about Clove. Right? Let's talk about fucking Clove right now. So you're worried about that 2 cent option that you lost money on? Okay. So maybe you came back today looking for what? Looking for vengeance. Right? A lot easier trading stock than options if you haven't heard. You got a faux show back at 450, VWAP break, pulls back, holds it, and it holds the last fake out shakeout for a VWAP break at 61. 61 gets you what? 91. That's 30 cents. There, that made up for your trade. What did I tell you? If the trade doesn't work on Friday, make sure you go back and get vengeance on it on Monday because that's what usually happens. And what do we trade here at the Hit the Bid chat room? We trade probabilities of what usually happens when validated by VWAP and prior day VWAP. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal on Clove. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but no one was really paying attention. I was putting on Crimson and Clover, and next thing you know, Clove started to move. And if you don't think I control the market, now you know. Lane Meyer to attempt the K12 right here. All right, what we're missing right now, as the Wizard's texting me, is why are we not buying a faux show, bro, on SpaceX? Oh, we are. Wizard. Thank you for the heads up. And here is why. When I say shorting is short-lived, I was short SpaceX today. Twice. Blow off top, roll over VWAP break. Blow off top, VWAP break. I'm in both times. Made $120 and I made $40 right there. Fake them out, shake them out, VWAP break. Fake them out, shake them out, VWAP break. And now all-time highs. And I still own the SpaceX. Just like I own Lightpath and Rambus and Nokia. But intraday is a whole different thing. Intraday, you stay focused on price action. And then other than that, everything will be a buy for the rest of eternity. And I'll be 55 this year, and I'm probably going to be rip-roaring like this for at least another 5 years. And maybe when I'm about 60, we'll have our next bear market. And that's not even a joke. I don't know if the market's going to correct or crash in the next 5 years, but I do believe, I'm not trying to be funny here, these next 5 years, we're going straight up. And that's why I love shorting stocks that I own, because it proves my theory in itself. Shorting is short lived and it doesn't work. But I could take advantage of these little blips on the radar and short SpaceX twice to then buy more SpaceX with that money. I could short the Qs for a little bit and use that money to buy more Qs. I could short Nokia to buy more Nokia, and so forth and so on. But if you lose focus for a second, you're going to get run over by this market. Because if you haven't heard, we never go down. That was a dramatic pause for. And that's where we're at, dungeon dwellers, TikTokers, YouTubers, right? You want to spend some time with me, right? Make money for the next 5 or 6 years? I ain't going nowhere. You know, people that have been in my chat room with me and Solid since 07, we still have people that come back. They're still members of our room. People don't leave us because we do things wrong. They leave because they've accomplished something in their lives, and now they don't want to be in a chat room all day. I don't think you should ever leave, because the camaraderie and the, or the idea generation, kind of like the wizard texting me, why am I not buying more SpaceX? See, I should have been buying more SpaceX. Because I told the wizard, if it breaks 175, buy more. Oh, and there's the wizard. Hold on a second. And the wizard's already selling some at 177.50. Good job, wizard. 175 get you 177.50. Very nice. Now, again, I'm still shocked right now that last move didn't get us to the 180. But also, take a look at this, friends. Where is SpaceX now? Here's the 2 days that it's been alive on a 5-minute chart. We did break the highs of its life. So let me repeat this again. I'm never selling SpaceX unless it breaks 150, or once it gets into the 200s, I might raise my stop to 200. But it's got to get there first. And like I said, if it gets over 180, which I expect to see today, 180 gets you 250. 250? Yes. On another note, nice sell. That's 177.50, wizard. Pretty sweet. So here, on a notion of bearishness, I know that doesn't really exist too much in this dojo anymore. I had a friend I haven't spoke to since high school reaching out, wondering if it was a good idea to start buying into the market. They said they saw me on YouTube. They can't believe they saw me on TikTok doing my thing. I had no idea I was involved in the market. And they were like, I'm thinking about getting involved. I'm like, oh God, that's bearish. When high school friends are texting you out of nowhere looking to get involved. Ugh. Not as bad if my uncle decides he wants back in. If you guys have heard the story about my uncle, complete opposite of my father. My father taught me well. Market never goes down. My dad's been long since 1978 and still in, like I said, a lot of these stocks he's been in. SpaceX options are tomorrow, I believe. My uncle, on the other hand, he bought stocks in 1986 and the market crashed in 87. And he says the market's rigged. It's awful. Nobody ever makes money. Right. So after he got crushed in 1987, he stayed out of the market, went into CDs, and you do stuff that conservative stuff, which I don't fault anybody. I love cash. But my uncle, when did he come back to the market? He sat out 1987 to 1999. So for 12 years, he sat there just pissed off. Oh my God, everybody's making money but me. When does he buy back in? 1999. He calls me. He says, "What's this stock all about that your dad owns?" He was talking about Cisco at the time. He's like, he's like, "I just read about it. I'm thinking about buying it." I'm like, "Well, my dad's in at $22. The stock's at 88. You sure you want to do this?" He's like, "Well, it should keep going up." I'm like, "I don't know what it's going to do, but I just want to let you know it's a 400% in 18 months. That's usually not the best time to get involved." He's like, "Oh, well, blah, 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 blah." He bought it. And what happened? The market crashed. So my uncle's experience of the market is that it only goes down because he bought in 86 and then it crashed in 87. He bought in 99. It crashed 3 months later after he got involved and it was a disaster. He got out at the lows. What did my dad do? Bought more for 22 years, still owned Cisco up until about a year ago. Made a lot of money trading Cisco. One guy's view is one guy's failure is another guy's success. Fast forward, my uncle stayed out of the market until when? Until he read the coast was clear. What year was that? 2008. Here he comes buying back in to some, I think it was actually some, ironically, photonic stock that wasn't ready to go. I think it was like a light path type of stock. I forgot what it was. But he read about how Lucent was going to take this company over. And I'm like, "Unc, here we go again. What do you just look for pain every 10 years?" And so he's like, "Nah, this one looks legit. They got earnings and blah, blah, blah. Supposedly Lucent's going to take them over." I'm like, "Well, if you buy, the stock's going to zero, right?" And he bought it. And it was some sort of scam company. And it went from $35 to like $8. I don't remember what it was. He sold it for a loss and he hasn't bought a stock yet since. So that's 2000, what? That's 2009. My uncle's been out of the market since. He's due. He's due. When my uncle says, "Hey, what do you think about these cues here?" I will send an email alert to all of us. Anybody in the listening voice, the area of my voice, you will get an alert. We'll call it the Kenny's Uncle Indicator. If somebody like that comes back to the market after all this time, he'll probably top it out again because my uncle is the worst. Plus, he's one of those everything's going to kill you kind of people. He's pleasant to be around. Everything you're eating, he tells you how bad it is for you right as you're eating it. "Oh, you're drinking soda out of a can? The soda eats away at the aluminum and you're actually drinking part of the can." "Thanks." "Oh, you're having a sesame seed bagel? The bagels, they get caught in your intestines and they clog you up. You have to get surgery for that. You'll get all bunched up. You won't have to go. You'll be constipated for a month." Thanks. Can I just eat my bagel? He's the guy that walks into a store. He goes and finds a security guard to make sure that they know that he walked in with certain things, in case they think he stole. I'm like, "Uncle, no one's going to think you stole the water bottle. We're in a clothing store, first of all." He's like, "All right, just let me make sure." He's got to go find the security guard. "This is my water bottle. I came in with it." The guy's looking at him like, "What do you want from me?" Anyway, that long story is something we should be on the lookout for. When everybody believes we're never going down, that's when the market will probably go down. And right now, we are still in a very skeptical market, climbing the wall of worry. People still believe that this is some sort of bubble. And that's why we're not going down. And that's where we're at, friends. And it's lovely. So let's go back to this clove trade, right? So everybody was moaning about it. I know what, not many people, but you know, it is what it is. You buy a 2-cent option on a Friday, you hope something happens, nothing happens. But what you do, and if you do, you go back on Monday and make your 2 cents back. Everybody make your 2 cents back. And you know what? Where's the guy that said, hey, I'm not going to buy it. You seem to like the stock. I'm going to give it a couple of weeks. So that person bought the $5 calls for this week. You still got a shot. But now, look at this trade. So let's say you walked in this morning, you said, oh, right, clove. Oh, that sucked on Friday. Yeah. They were at 7 cents. They went down to 3. If you bought them at 7, they're at 14 now. That's 100% on your money. Just getting that revenge that you should have been seeking. And I still do believe the stock's going to 750. Just like all these other stocks. Just because Rambus sold off and LightPath sold off and Nokia sold off this morning changes nothing. Just like the Q's selling off for 3 days. Changed nothing. Even if we would have got a little bit of a follow through to the downside on the Qs, I thought maybe we could. 686. I thought we were going to flirt with the 675, but we didn't. I thought if we broke 675, we could actually get down to the 652. Factored it in. I thought maybe it could happen, and then it doesn't. $12.06, and we're still going. By the way, did anybody buy this clove? The premise is still the same. We're still in that massive Kardashian bottom, Andy Dufresne. If you look at the long-term chart, right? Here's your max. Go back on a weekly. Oh, look at it now, right? Something you might want to own. Little buy program, consolidation. By the way, speaking of long-term trades, let me just show you that Nokia again. That's why I still own it. I'm in late. You know, I just started buying this thing at 12.5. And I don't usually do stupid shit like this. Usually I'm doing even dumber shit like shorting it. But here, look. Here's the, if you just look at it in 10 years, right? It's gone parabolic. Andy Dufresne, little last crack action. Another fake out breakout right there. So now we're just consolidating this monster move. That's good. As long as it doesn't break down, which would be bad. Breaks this last attempt to sell off, which is way back on May 4th. Then you're inside this candle. Bad things could happen. Like it going back to 11. Breaks there. And ugh, you might be looking at $9 again. But I'm a believer. And I'm glad it's going sideways because it's giving us a chance to buy it here. I wouldn't mind it going back to 13 and change like it did the other day. As long as it doesn't break down. So I'll leave you guys on the internet with this notion. Ironic nature of this market might play out again today, right? Massive gap, power gap Monday. Chances are there's not going to be any selling today, right? So we could have a turnaround Tuesday where the sellers finally do take some profit. So, again, if they show up tomorrow, it'll be from these upper levels. I don't mind giving the short another chance, but I think we're at all-time highs now. No, we're still 4 points away from all-time highs. I'm assuming we're going to go test that. Somebody mentioned Alcoa. Now you're talking my language. Yes. Massive blow off top, about to roll over. You know what the story is at 55, between 55 and 57. You buy the stock. It's worked, 17 times in the last 2 years around that price. Keep an eye on that. Yeah, that's nice. Wait for it. But if I am here, which I don't have anywhere else to go today, but I'll keep an eye on the market in case some sellers show up in the middle of the day, because you get usually after 12 o'clock, you'll start getting into consolidation mode. That consolidation could lead to a 2 to 4 point sell-off, which is not a bad trade. It's just you better get your timing right. All right. All right. So if you guys have any questions about TradingView, I think Solid might be around. He's the guy to ask that. If you're having issues with the room, that's a stock market media question. If you guys are in the dungeon picking up scraps, well, I'm flooding the dungeon with alligators and fire tonight. So if you want to stick around, if you only got a couple of days like our pal Mark here, just email me. Say something pleasant about my bald head. You guys on YouTube, you're hopeless because you've been sitting there trying to get free stuff for the last year and a half. Yeah, freeloaders. But if you guys want to be involved and make money every day with us, start by joining for a month. I'm doing another class on July 11th. We'll run that special again, I'm sure. Month and a class, 2 bits, month of the class, and then you go from there. And hopefully you guys have been impressed by what would have been your ideal entry for Nokia? You mean today or in life? Today was just a short when it broke the whole number. And then a cover at the half. If you're thinking long term, there is no bad price. Buy it now. If you're thinking about holding it for the next year and a half, then 1465 has no difference than 1365, because I think the stock's going to $25. So you'll either make 8 points or 9 points. It's irrelevant. Or you buy a little bit here, pulls back, you buy a little bit more. It's about whether it breaks down. If it breaks down, you take your loss. Hangs in there. You hang. Oh, by the way, nice little recovery today on Nokia. Nice. But for a day trade, it's completely different. Day trade, it's just the price action, and you're navigating the trade. I think they're charging $299, $259. I have no idea. I just show up and start ranting and raving and trading. That's why stock market media, if you don't know, those are my friends that I call the corporate overlords. They just run the site for me. The dungeon, I still run sort of myself. But if you haven't taken a whirl in the dungeon, just let me know. I'll throw you down there. You get your 2 weeks up front. But then we we insist that you get a VWAP tattoo on your forehead. And don't be like Jerry. Email me every 3 weeks. Hey, you think I could get another trial? As if I don't know. Jerry. This one guy changes his email from time to time, and he emails me like I don't know it's him. If you love it that much, and I know you're out there listening, you love me this much. It's not a lot of money. Apparently, you're infatuated. I get it. It's a lot of reasons to love me. So go ask your girlfriend for the money or something. I don't know. Sell a kidney. The finger of God. Oh, I'll show you a finger of God. Yeah, there you go. Nice recovery on light path. Just like everything else. That's why shorting is short-lived. The finger of God. Well, it's kind of right there. Whoa. It's a blow-off top rollover, right? But it doesn't have to be the classic blow-off top. It just has to be a prior. It has to break a new high and then start breaking prior lows and then break VWAP. Kind of like light path at the open. New high, rollover, break VWAP. And there it is again. And then it just rolls over. 1 minute and then usually there's a 1 minute multi-day VWAP break in the middle. And listen, guys, I know maybe this didn't like gel with you first of all, right? Remember when I accidentally, well, I didn't accidentally, I bought Rambus. You know how, look, it became a pretty good trade, right? Even if you bought like, what was it, 143.85. Stock wound up going up two points. This little scalp trade, you know, you do 200 shares there, you make 2 points, that's $400. Depending on what your May to day's pay is, you know, everybody's got a goal for the day, or you should. It's not a little bad trade right there. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I am looking for a reason to short the Qs. And I think that's what's going to keep me from not trading today, seriously. So if I'm trading again, it's probably going to be a short on the Qs if it develops. And right now it's telling me to shut my dumb mouth, go outside, enjoy my life, stop talking, get a lozenge, put some music on, and, chill out. Because if shorting happens, it's going to happen again tomorrow. It'll be easier to short tomorrow because we'll have today's lows to contend with or to use. But these power gap Mondays, you're seeing why I generally don't even I usually take the day off. But at least we found some stuff. At least we found a few trades. I mean, that's nice. But you know what also I'm thinking about is SpaceX, right? You just got 2 fat fingers right back down to VWAP. I don't know if that's real or not, but every pullback in this stock is being bought, right? And you still got to be thinking 180, right? Now you understand why we're thinking 180 still, right? Because that's just probability. I personally have never seen a stock that has come out of an IPO as positive as this one has, They brought it out specifically at 150 because that's a very algorithmic price. Elon Musk and that crew knows what they're doing. They had a lot of buying lined up, but there's also a lot of people out there that still want to sell this thing. Right? But right now, the buying is still happening. The pullbacks are being bought. You still haven't got to 180. And the reason 180 is important to know is that that's what you usually see. When a stock breaks through 150 in a blue sky breakout, and that's what this is, a blue sky breakout means there's blue skies ahead. There's nothing on top that's ever been. It's a blue sky breakout. So usually 150 gets you 180. And we're only $1.50 away. I can't imagine they make 178.48 the high of the day today. It could be. Again, we're just trading probabilities. But let's say 178.48 is the high from today, and the stock opens up tomorrow 172 and change, and then breaks 178.48, buy it. You should get the 180. And then if it breaks the 180, the next logical area is the 200. But generally, stocks that break through the 180s go to $250. That's just based on just statistics from the market over the last 100 years. Stuff still plays out like that today. Now, if we're lucky, I'm not sure if he's around or not. If we could say his name 3 times and conjure him up like Candyman, sometimes Solid Jello shows up. So I'll put on his song to see if we can get him to hang with us today. Sometimes he's busy. I think he might have showed up after DJ Open Close at the Schmooze. I'm not even sure. I was sleeping. All right, Internet. YouTubers, I'm signing off. Go find that extra scratch. Join us. Join us next for the next class. And then you'll meet Solid Jello. I'll see you guys. I love you. I appreciate you showing up and watching the show. I do. See you, Internet.